Welcome into our 2023 fantasy football bust videos. This is the tight end edition. One of the most popular positions in fantasy football. Not, but there are some good selections here for some busts. But just a little disclaimer here before we jump into it. I mean, we're making these videos just because of the fact of their ADP values. It's not that we think these guys are bad at their jobs in any way, although some might. We really just strictly don't like them for just how high they are going in drafts right now when it comes to the ADP value. So it's just a little too high for our pricing. But before we jump into it, make sure you like and subscribe the video and our YouTube channel. And then, if you do like what we're doing here, make sure you go to our website, fantasy6pack.net/plans. And then you can go check out our F6P memberships. Make sure you do use that code F6P NFL to get 15% off. I always like a good discount.
Good deal.
And then, yep, you're all good, buddy. And then you get access to, when it comes to baseball, the most accurate rankings as of last year. When it comes to this year for football, or last year for football, it was number 2 for Joe Bond. Again, another top 5 finish. The man's, he's a guru when it comes to fantasy football. But really, the coolest thing about it is the custom advice on our Discord. You get access to that. Us, Dylan, me, Dylan, our Dynasty guys, DFS guys, all golf guys. We got a lot of people there to ready to make you money. So it's definitely pays for itself just in that with the membership. But now that's enough of that. Let's jump into our bust video with the tight ends. And let's start off here with a little spicy take for our first candidate, Dylan.
Yeah, man, it's George Kittle. And I don't like doing this, but he was really backed on his touchdowns last year towards the end of the year because we remember how good he finished. He finished with 7 touchdowns in his last 4 games with Brock Purdy at the helm. He had just 4 touchdowns in his previous 11 games. So, it just kind of shows you how volatile touchdowns are. I'm just worried about it, Mike, because we really like a top tier tight end to be the number 1 or 2 target getters in their offense. Is he going to be a number 1 or 2 target getter in this offense? I don't think so. Not with Brandon Ayuk, not with Christian McCaffrey, not with Deebo Samuel, even though I hate him. Spoiler alert, if you didn't check out the wide receiver bus, Deebo is on there. But yeah, I taking him as the tight end 4 off the board. If I'm missing out on Travis Kelce and maybe Mark Andrews to an extent, I don't want to draft either of the other guys. I don't want to draft Hawkinson. I don't want to draft Kittle. I would just much rather wait and take a tight end late, if I'm being honest with you.
I mean, I personally really only want Mark Andrews or Travis Kelce if I'm investing in a tight end in the first 3 rounds. Yeah. And most of those guys aren't even Andrews and Kelce don't make it to the 3rd round where I would want to get that tight end. So I completely get this. Plus, we're talking about a guy who plays just so aggressive, he really doesn't even end up playing.
Yeah, and I didn't even mention, Mike, they love him as a blocker, too. He's just a vicious blocker, so he's going to be used there as well. And he is going, his current ADP is 61.2. I just want to shout out 4for4 for doing awesome underdog ADP they got going on over there. But he's going as ADP number 62, so that's like, what, the 5th round? So it's not too crazy, but yeah, I would just much rather take a receiver there. I'd much rather take one of those running backs. I like to pick the running backs out of the dead zone, even though a lot of people don't like that. But I've been seeing maybe you can get like Aaron Jones in the 5th round and stuff like that. So I'd much rather.
Yeah, just the total points you can get, unless you're in a tight end premium league and you're just in a normal PPR, half PPR. The total points you're going to get in that range, in that 4th, 5th, 6th round, from a running back, wide receiver, hell, even a quarterback, it's just going to be more points than a tight end. So that's where it's like, if you punt the tight end position, you really don't want to draft George Kittle in that round because you're going to be missing on such good value.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll move on to our next guy here who actually capitalized on pretty good value last year, but it seems that it's going to turn around this year. Who you got?
It's Evan Engram, man. And I don't like putting this because he helped me get to one of my fantasy championship last year as my tight end. You picked him up last year off of waivers, and there's a good chance you really enjoyed having him on your roster. He 98 targets with them, Mike, and a 17% target share, which is pretty solid last year. And this surprised me. He was number one in slot snaps at the tight end position with 300 snaps, Mike. That surprised me, honestly. I don't think that's going to happen. I can almost guarantee you that won't happen again with the addition of Calvin Ridley in this offense. You know, they're going to want to play more 3 wide receivers there, which means that probably pushes Christian Kirk back into his normal slot position, like where he played with the Arizona Cardinals, and you'll have Calvin Ridley and Zay Jones on the outside. I don't think Ingram's going to see 98 targets. I could see 75-ish around there, and he's going to be much more useful as a NFL tight end, I feel like, this season than a fantasy tight end. And with him going as tight end 8, I would just rather wait, guys.
Yeah, I mean, last year he didn't have Calvin Ridley. Now he's got Calvin Ridley here,
Yep.
and I feel like we're drafting Evan Engram of last year, and we have to put in perspective. You know, this year it's another elite option thrown into the mix. Now, granted, he hasn't played for a year. They're still going to incorporate him in the offense. Like, the whole reason why Evan Engram was involved is because it was just Christian Kirk and Zay Jones last year.
Exactly.
And that was it, because Travis Etienne couldn't really catch the ball from what we saw. Now, hopefully that changes this year.
It will. Yep.
I hope. I don't guarantee.
Future teller here, don't you know?
Read into your crystal ball. Do I win one of my leagues this year?
Yes.
So, I like that.
Not the main one, though.
Oh, that sucks for you. So, I get that. I get it. But, I mean, he did just – we are recording this on this, 16th, and it is literally the day after, or it could be the same day that he got the 3-year extension. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's good for him NFL-wise. But, yes, I mean, when you got too many options, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. Only so many can cook.
And yep, exactly. And just let me bring this up real quick. Calvin Ridley demanded a 27% and 25% target share his last 2 seasons in Atlanta. That's going to eat into what Engram saw last year in those 98 targets.
Yeah, and that was with an elite option like Julio Jones.
Yeah, yep.
But we'll move on here to our next guy, and I kind of like this. This is karma because you talk so much shit about my wide receivers. But let's move on to your Chicago Bears tight end, and it's not Robert Tonyan, the one you just signed.
It's Cole Kmet, man. Gosh darn it. I was all about Cole Kmet last year, and he disappointed a little bit. But I felt like the process was right, Mike, right? We thought that Cole Kmet
the regression was right, yeah.
We thought that Cole Kmet had a chance to lead the Bears in targets. Guess what he did? He led the Bears in targets. We thought that positive regression was going to come in the touchdowns. It did. He went from 0 to catching 7 last year, which we liked.
Actually more than I thought.
He just couldn't put weeks consistently together, and he's still going as
welcome to the life of a fantasy football tight end.
Exactly. And he's still going as tight end 16. And no, guys, no, just wait longer. Go after a Juwan Johnson. Go after a Mike Gesicki, someone who I talked about.
I'm really a fan of like Dalton Schultz in that area, because I know he's going more like in the 12 range. Mm-hmm. But I mean, God, give me Dalton Schultz over Cole Kmet.
And Robert Tonyan is in Chicago. That might be something that fantasy managers might have missed, which is he going to be flashy good for fantasy, Tonyan? No, but he's going to be good for this Bears offense all in all. And the Bears like Cole Kmet as a blocker too. So he's going to probably play a little bit more in line. And I know, Mike, we talked pre-show. You also said that Bobby Tonyan is also a solid blocker. But they're going to be a good 1-2 combination. I just don't like either of these guys for fantasy purposes. And all of a sudden, there's a bunch of mouths to feed in this offense, Mike, with DJ Moore, with Chase Claypool, with Darnell Mooney. Where does Cole Kmet's targets come from? You know what I mean? I'm just good, my friend.
They get taken from Khalil Herbert and Deontay Foreman.
yeah. But, and Justin Fields doesn't really even check the ball down, so it is what it is. Cole Kmet, not my cup of tea this season.
No, totally makes sense here. And like I said, I mean, I'm the last little tidbit I'll give you here is I'm just if you're punting on tight end, you want to aim for a guy that's going to be like 1-2 option.
Yeah.
Just receiving option in their offense. And like you made a great point. DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, Darnell Mooney. These are all guys that are probably going to be targeted more than Cole Kmet this year, if healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But that wraps up our tight ends, unless you have anybody else, any little nugget you want to throw in there.
No, man, we spent a good 10 minutes on them. I think that's what tight ends deserve. So,
I mean, as long as they can get us 10 points, they can get us 10.
Let's
they
go.
can get 10 minutes of fame.
Let's go.
But make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We really appreciate it. We're really grateful for it. And then go check out those memberships at fantasysixpack.net/plans F6P NFL for 15% off. For Dylan, I'm Mike. Everybody have a good one.